Not sure if you could hear that because I am wearing a mic and it tends to be pretty directional, but it's midnight and the old courthouse bells are going. You know, all these little towns out here, most of them have a pretty long history, at least for the U.S. You go further east, yeah, you can find towns settled in the 18th, some even in the 17th century. But of course you go further west and you can find towns that weren't settled until the 20th century. So this town here, my hometown, was settled just at 200 years ago, give or take, you know. It's one of the places, because it's on the river, that was settled prior to the Louisiana Purchase as such, and then became a town. And yeah, it's funny, some of these small towns are actually more happening places back then, 19th, even first half of the 20th century. I don't want to sound like a boomer, I don't want to wax too poetic, but that is one of the tragedies of just the way life is now, is the loss of small town America. There are plenty of small towns, but job opportunities seem to go down and down. A lot of small towns really relied on one or two factories or other, industries that are no longer there. This one was never that much reliant, but it had some. Still are some factories here, but if they were to go, I could imagine it would hurt. But it also relied on the river and more and more tourism because of the mountains. But people don't shop in small towns now. They'll go to the neighboring town, to the Wal-Mart supercenter, or what have you. Or, like I do a lot, online purchasing. Amazon, Chewy for the pets, Target online. And I can't argue with it. It saves you time in driving. You go pick it, boom, it's there. I think everyone does it because it's just modernity. But unfortunately, because of loss of opportunities and more stores going, then fewer jobs because of that, then fewer opportunities. People, if they live, are either retirees or young enough they just haven't been able to get out yet, or they have to commute to work. Or worst of all, are unemployed or part-time and have become rather depressed with the situation, which leads to rampant drug use. While I know some drug users are just assholes, they're just assholes that happen to find drugs. It really breaks my heart when you find good, decent people, even very smart, intelligent people, that because they're not able to get something fulfilling in life, or they're just bored, they turn to drugs or alcohol to alleviate that boredom. Speaking from first-hand experience, when I was in high school and before I went off to college, and even frankly, I guess a little bit right after college before I found work and did all that, it is discouraging because your mind is active. You want to do something, and then when you can't, you feel wasteful, and drugs or alcohol can numb that. But yeah, of course, around here, the big deals now, as in most small town America, big too, but it seems like it's a small town thing, is of course methamphetamine. Of course, cities have more like crack cocaine being their deal. I know there's a difference, I do, but the effects seem pretty well the same. Crime. It's a shame because it's not so much the crime of the drug itself as crime, people wanting more drug and stealing and robbing to make that happen. I have never really heard of anyone stealing to get weed money. Begging, bugging, pestering the shit out of you. No one can be more annoying than a stoner. That's for sure. But rarely will they just steal. Not saying never, but rarely. But yeah, back in the day, late 19th, first part of the 20th century, small towns were pretty well self-contained. All the stores needed to be there, auto stores, of course grocery stores. When I was a kid, there were 3 grocery stores here. Now there's effectively 1, unless you count like a Dollar General. That's another thing that seems to have kind of claimed small town America and rural America in general are dollar stores. And I have mixed feelings about that. For one thing, when you really adjust for the cost and the quantity, they're not only not cheaper a lot of the time, for example with a lot of food products, they're more expensive. But they know that some people don't have, say, $20 to buy a quantity of something, but they do have $5. So instead of selling them a fourth, which would be equivalent to $20, you'll get maybe a fifth or a sixth of the quantity. So if you were to buy, say, 6 times to equal what you would get at, say, Wal-Mart in bulk, you would actually be spending $30 or $25 at the very least. Now, if you're just needing to pick up some, paper plates or something for a cookout, yeah, dollar stores are great. So I'm not saying they should go away, but when that becomes your primary shopping adventure because you're scraping money together, it becomes a vicious cycle where you actually end up paying more. I also notice gas is higher here. Not hugely so, but based on where I live, a little bit larger area, it is more expensive here by about 5 cents, it seems like, maybe 10 cents on the far end per gallon. Quite interesting, especially considering the average wage here is considerably lower. Good news is food's cheaper, at least restaurants, so I don't mind coming down here to eat out at restaurants because it is a lot cheaper. But you really can't fight time, you can't fight progress, and you certainly can't roll back the hands on the clock. What was can never be again. That's the nature of everything in any time. So you have to accept what present we live in, and if you like it, great, try to preserve it. If you don't, try to change the future to make it better. You can take lessons from the past, but the notion to repeat or turn back time is foolishness. Just like we all age, get older, we can't become young again. Trying to make the past happen again is like seeing someone in their 40s or 50s having a midlife crisis. It often is maybe fun, but ultimately quite sad. I was wondering what that clanking is. I think it's a piece of metal hanging in the wind. There's a little bit of a wind out here. I do like setting out at nights, no matter where I'm at. It's very peaceful, alone with your own thoughts. Yeah, small town America. There's certainly things to be said for it. When I was younger, I think I definitely wanted to live in a big city, and I've been in big cities. And I definitely don't regret my time, but as I get older, I like quiet and space, time to think. And I think COVID really showed us all maybe the folly of being in a big city. Not saying they should get emptied, of course not. But, I don't know. Everywhere has their pros and cons. I think for me, living in a medium-sized place is about right. Big enough to have some restaurants, stores to go to, and to have the competition kind of drive down the price on some products, and enough places for people to work that keeps the economy going, and giving the majority of people a purpose and a cause tends to cut down on rampant drug use and abuse. Of course, it doesn't make it ever go away. That'll never happen. There have been drugs, or at least alcohol, in every civilization that humans have ever created. So it is what it is. Like I said towards the beginning, some people are just prone to that. Some people are just assholes. But some people, if you give them an alternative, will turn away. I knew quite a few people that really put it all down and grew up to be responsible employees, even business owners, and family men, fathers, mothers, some of them grandparents now. It's never too late. But I don't know where it ends for small towns. I really don't. Without manufacturing. But then what do? You bring manufacturing here with U.S. wages and expenses and taxes and insurance. Would people want to pay more? I mean, look how much they complain when gas goes up a few cents per gallon, which in the grand scheme of things is nothing. In fact, I would argue it's about the same as it always was, because for one, when you adjust for inflation, gas is kind of about where it's always been. But another thing, too, is cars are much more fuel efficient now than they used to be. Remember when I was a kid, if a car got 20, 25 per gallon, a small car, that was good. If a truck got 10, 15, that was really good. Now, well, you know where we're at better than I do. I mean, you've got small cars that can do 40, even more per gallon, and you've got trucks that easily do 25 per gallon now. Quite big ones. So that helps too. If you can't lower the price of gas, going further on a tank is definitely something. But, yeah. But back to kind of my point there. If we brought manufacturing back to America, paying American wages and all that, would people want to pay more for stuff? I know a lot of people would say they would. But people say a lot of things. I think the reality is, if you still offered a Chinese widget for $3 and an American version was $4.50, most people, hey, someone else is out this late. Most people would, at least in secret, go for the $3 Chinese. Probably myself included. And what would be funny is, that's not necessary to say the American one would be higher quality. Not to say it'd be lower quality either, but I don't know. But I don't know that really can be brought back, because that tends to be how civilization and society progresses. You go from industrial to post-industrial to service-based economy and on and on. I don't have any answers. It's not my job, not my field of expertise, just an observation. But it just seems like manufacturing kind of follows that path. It was here post-World War II because, well, we were the place to be for building stuff in the 50s. Europe was still very much rebuilding. The Soviet Union definitely was. Japan and China, same thing. I mean, the communists just took over in 49. But the service sector was much lower. And of course, communications were very, very different back then. You couldn't outsource calls to a call center in India. Like I said, I don't really have an answer. Just the march of time in a lot of ways. And dogs. We do make dogs here. There is that. Well, I guess technically dogs make dogs here. But we supervise. Yeah. It's nice to visit down here, but I don't think I'd ever want to move back. And it's not because it's a small town. You know, there's this kind of mythos that small towns, everyone knows everyone, everyone's friendly. I'm going to be honest, and this isn't to individuals, but just as a general thing, people seem to be more sullen and upset here than they do other larger places I've been to, not just where I live, but other towns. again, though, with people losing jobs, the economy, here specifically, drug use, habitually underfunded schools and other things, I'm not saying they're wrong, but I'm definitely not saying it's everyone. But I definitely don't feel like people are noteworthy in their friendliness here versus other places. But this is a sweeping and frankly irrelevant generalization, as most of those are. It's really hard to judge, and it's like saying New Yorkers are rude. Well, some, but I actually found a lot of New Yorkers were very kind and courteous, even if you had to sometimes break through their outer crust or shell. But yeah, by the time I get this up, I'll be back home. Got to get back to work Monday, picking up some stocks of all things for guns, some other parts and things. Usually I like to buy guns, but parts sell really well, and they're, generally speaking, pretty easy to do, if that makes sense. Yeah. As I said in the cabin update video there, and I'll probably have this video up before we do it, but planning the cookout / camping / proto cabin trip for that. Should be not a huge group, 5, 6 of us maybe. Big enough to have fun, but not big enough to be unmanageable. Once the cabin's fully ready to go, then maybe one. But even then, I don't like huge groups. I plan on making it be able to sleep 6 people comfortably, at least, sharing bed, basically 3 full / queen beds. But then I'll have some cots, folding cots that I'll put up in the attic and pull down for overflow, because the living room area will have plenty of floor space just to throw down. I mean, heck, people could even throw down on the porch if they wanted. Plenty of deck space there. Yeah, I need to start doing the backyard. Get some tables and chairs out there. I already have some tables, but just refine it. Get a charcoal grill. And probably every time I come out for the rest of the year, I'll be bringing this or that, things I think I need, things that could be useful. It'll be a work in progress for a while, but it's nice to have a project. And I think it has been good for me to have that, because especially through the latter half of winter, I tend to be in a more depressive mood, and just, it's, after Christmas and New Year, seems like the second half of winter really drags on. It's kind of given me that thing to look forward to. It'll be done, new things, new experiences. Yeah, I would have liked to have had it done originally at the end of April like we'd planned, but I kind of knew that no construction's actually done on time. That's just not how things work in the real world. If it's at least mostly there by Memorial Day, I'll be good with that. Oh, not much else to talk about on the channel. A couple more aircraft videos. I haven't really found many new figures to talk about. NECA seems very quiet. The last Predator they did that I'm aware of was the Prey Predator, the Feral. Have you guys seen anything new? I haven't really seen anything new from the Alien side of things. In fact, even the existing stock items seem getting low stock or out of stock when I look on most websites. But I had fun. Haven't really seen much new over at Master Replicas. Seems like they've been focusing more on like Doctor Who and whatnot. and restocking existing things, which is cool. I would like to see the next releases in the Stargate line, and I'd love to see them pick back up the Battlestar Galactica, but I don't know if they have the licensing to do that. I mean, they have the licensing for what they have, but I don't know if they can make new ones. Maybe they will. I'm not really interested in their, like, Marvel, DC stuff. If you are, that's cool. That just wasn't really the hot thing when I was a kid. I grew up kind of before the superhero movie became really mainstream. It's just not my taste, and we all have our taste. There's plenty of things I probably love that you aren't really into, so that's cool. So no judgment there. But yeah, it's just not really my jam. That's cool. Most of my stuff is either historical / military based or science fiction based on some level. We're definitely shaped by what we grew up with. On the other hand, we're never too old to learn. We like something new and to experience something new, so definitely not slamming anyone for doing that. I think we should. I think we should discover new interests and new talents and new hobbies for our entire lives. Why not? I mean, sounds is cool to discover something later in life. But just a thinking. I'm definitely ready for spring weather, though. Warm weather, pleasant nights. I'm not ready for the hot yet, but hopefully we'll get a couple of months of nice, pleasant weather. But I guess we'll find out. But yeah, I had some time sitting out here. Thought I would do another Blackbox. My next couple of weeks are going to be very busy. Got a couple of doctor's things. I need to go get some supplies. I need to go by a jewelry store to get a watch band adjusted, which has been a whole adventure in and of itself because it's hard to find jewelers that have the proper tools. Kind of talking about the loss of little small entrepreneurships. But yep, been trying to find some new guns or at least new items for the store to sell. Like I said, got a cabin to pay for. There too is nice to have a goal, a purpose. It's one thing to make money, but it seems nicer to me to make money for a reason. Yep. Well, I don't know if I'll do another Blackbox before the eclipse. So, not sure how many of you are in an area where it's even a thing to be observed. If you are, what are your plans? Like I said, around here, even though it falls on a Monday, which actually is good. I think if it had fallen on a Wednesday, it would be more difficult. But even the schools here are letting out, making it essentially a 3-day holiday weekend. So it's actually good that it fell on a Monday. Friday would have been even better, but could have been a lot worse. Like a Tuesday, Wednesday would have been blah. So yeah, if you've got plans, let me know. That'll be fun to discuss. And I'm sure we'll record. I'm sure J-Ro will record on his nice camera. I'll record some. I'm sure there'll be a video for the main Mishaco channel. Again, it's something that won't happen for a while. And it's something we can all enjoy together that's not political. Good God, if someone finds a way to make the eclipse political, you know what? Never say never now, though. Jesus. I just value those moments more and more when we can put all that junk aside and just enjoy friends and family and moments of our lives. Unique times, unique events. To me, that's really cool. But yeah, let me know your plans, and look back for a video here and on the main channel about how our Eclipse camping trip went. Hope everyone's having a good start to their April. Any summer plans? Any vacations planned for this year? Let me know. Just hanging out, chit-chatting. It's a nice evening. Almost perfectly temperatured out here. With that, this is Misha. Catch you very soon next time.